Brilliant. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Breckland Council's Cabinet meeting on Monday, the 10th of February. It's just come up to 9:30, so we'll commence today's formal proceedings. Welcome, everybody. It's great to see so many here today. We'll kick off with item 1, which are the minutes of the previous meeting held on Monday, the 6th of January 2025, contained within pages 3 to 7 of colleagues' agenda pack. Is everyone happy they're a true and accurate record? Yes. Super. Thank you very much. Ben, apologies for absence, please.
Thank you, Chairman. We've received no apologies.
Lovely, thank you very much. Item 3, any urgent business? I haven't received any. No, great. Item 4, declarations of interest. I'll take any declarations of interest as noted unless there's anything pertinent to today's meeting. We'll move to item 5, non-members wishing to address the meeting. As always, you're all most welcome to speak on any item of today's formal business. Item 6 then, Chairman's announcements. I've only got 3 announcements to make today. First of all is just an update on devolution and local government reorganisation. Colleagues will have seen the statement in the House of Parliament last Wednesday from the Secretary of State on the future of devolution and local government reorganisation in Norfolk. I'm pleased to say that Norfolk is on the path for devolution with a Norfolk and Suffolk deal. As said before, I think that it's right and proper that Norfolk has that devolvement. I think that there is still further work to do, and it falls short to where our ambition sits for devolution, particularly around some of those service delivery areas which really matter to our residents around housing, the economy and ecology and the environment. Part 2 for that, though, was the local government reorganisation part, which I am most disappointed about because it will see the demise of 2-tier areas and ultimately Breckland Council and the fantastic services that we run. As you'll recall from my statement at full council in January, I made it clear that I opposed the County Council's formal request to delay elections. I believe the elections should be going ahead in this year, particularly as it is district councils and those assistant returning officers who run those elections. And at no point did the Secretary of State, Minister or Norfolk County Council ask us as district councils in Norfolk whether we had the capacity to deliver devolution in Norfolk in 2026. And that was indeed the premise of the Secretary of State's desire to delay elections. So we will continue forward delivering those services which residents and business value up until the date in the future of when Breckland and Norfolk County Council will cease to exist. That time and date is yet to be agreed. It's a lot of work as you move forward, and it will cause a lot of uncertainty for many, both officers of this council, members, the public and those providers and partners. Until we know more, we can't update any further, but myself and Maxine O'Mahony, the Chief Executive, will work diligently with everybody to ensure we get the best type of services for residents and businesses, and more importantly, making sure that any change delivers an improvement to those services. As the lowest district council tax in the country, a council which has no debt, a council which is still investing in all of our local services and making no cuts to those, we need to make sure that any change in public service delivery sees an improvement for the residents of Breckland. Part 2 to that, colleagues, is that because this is such a large piece of work, I'm pleased to announce that Councillor Bill Borrett will be joining the Cabinet at Breckland, supporting me with a portfolio of devolution and local government reorganisation. Bill's incredible experience as a previous leader of Norfolk County Council, the portfolio holder for social care during the pandemic and public health, will ensure that Norfolk and the new structure for our locality and our residents will get the best type of service delivery. And I welcome Bill to the team over these coming weeks and months as we try to navigate which will be immensely challenging times. Part 2, colleagues, is just in relation to car parking. I know that this has been an immensely emotive subject, and I just want to take a moment to thank the officers of Breckland Council who, prior to Christmas 2024, worked diligently with members of this council to deliver a really engaging, honest, transparent set of engagements across all of our communities, listening to residents, businesses and visitors around where those challenges for car parking and where those opportunities present themselves. We had an incredible amount of feedback and evidence and data. I want to make the statement that Breckland Council today will be pausing any future progression in relation to car parking and our policy implementation, because that will be for the new administration, whatever that looks like, to make that decision moving forward. However, Councillor Hewitt will be working with officers to continue that dialogue with market towns on the possible transfer leasing of those car parks as we move forward, and we will be evaluating all of that evidence to ensure that we have a recommendation ready for that new administration to how they manage their car parks for Breckland moving forward. And that is it. Councillor Hewitt, or do you have anything else to add? No? No. Thank you very much. So we'll move on to item 7 then, which is Breckland Community Funding Application, standing item. I've got Councillor Ashby to start, please.
Thank you, Leader. Good morning. Good morning to everybody in the room and online. So we completed round 3 of the match funding earlier on this year, and I'm pleased to announce 4 successful applications, being from Norfolk Community Law Service, who were going to receive £5,000 to expand the free legal advice service in Breckland by employing an additional mobile legal advisor. This council is passionate about youth provision. We're providing £5,000 to the Benjamin Foundation to contribute towards the cost of running a youth and young carers group in Wayland. And I know my colleague, Councillor Webb, is extremely keen to get some youth provision, additional youth provision in Dereham, which we will look to progress in the coming weeks and months. Additionally, Dove's Nest Ministries Furniture was awarded £5,000 to support the annual operation costs of the furniture project. Norfolk Deaf Association received £5,000 to support the delivery of the hearing support service and Cup of Care in Breckland. Moving on to the Household Support Fund, I can confirm that £31,800 was provided to 106 residents in January. And lastly, I thought it would be important to mention the Breckland Lottery, where in January we had 605 players supporting 106 causes thus far, raising a significant £289,365.60. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Councillor Ashby. Any questions in relation to that? If not, we'll move on to Councillor Crane, please.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning to everyone. I just want to update on the King's Coronation Living Heritage Fund, and let you know that we've allocated over £23,000 to 25 different communities across Breckland, which equates to almost 1,000 trees being planted. It's been fantastic to see communities come together to plant the trees, and I'm sure over the years they will flourish. We also remember that these trees will play a key role in reducing CO2 and releasing oxygen back into the air. So all in all, that's been a fantastic grant. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Councillor Crane. Any questions? No. Councillor Clausen, please.
Yes, thank you, Chairman, and good morning, everybody. I'd just like to give an update on where we are with Meanwhile grants. And just as a reminder, Meanwhile grants are a funding initiative by Breckland designed to support businesses, community groups and entrepreneurs in making use of vacant commercial properties in order to set up or to expand their businesses. Now, this is the second round of Meanwhile, and this started in October last year. And to date, we have issued grants totaling almost £50,000. And these include Grow in Thetford, the Pantry in Kenninghall, Halo Bronze Tanning and Beauty in Attleborough, Highleat Fit in Swaffham, Crispy Crazy in Great Ellingham, and We Three Bears in Attleborough. And we look forward to working with them all in the future. Thank you, Chairman.
Lovely. Thanks, Paul. Any questions in relation to those business support grants? No, thanks. Councillor Suggett then, please.
Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you, Chair. And just to update in terms of the Rural England Prosperity Fund, it's coming near to the end of that fund, and or of that that grant. Get my words in, of that money's being able to be spent. And in the last 12 months, we have issued just over £864,000 in grants, and we're due to award a further £192,000 over the next 6 weeks, which will then see this round of this particular set of funding coming to an end. some of the details of that have gone, are being come out in our comms as and when we've been going out and have been seeing all the good work what our rural businesses have been up to. And they've gone from Mid Norfolk Railway to Gubbaldisham Post Office and village stores, and Bacon's Firewood in Manson Green to the Black Horse Pub in Thetford, to name just a couple. So I'm pleased to say that we have successfully fully committed the council's allocation of this, and we will update further when that round has come to an end. Thank you.
Brilliant, thanks, Sarah. Any questions or comments in relation to Sarah's or any other grant funding over this last period of time? Councillor Wilkinson, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'd just like to thank the portfolio holder for working with local communities and getting this funding out there. And it's been noted from my ward members, residents, that with the reorganisation of local government, they're very, very worried that this personal service and support we are giving residents and non-statutory services we supply, people are worried that that's going to disappear and they will not get that personal support from another tier of government. So while we're working well, thank you very much.
Lovely, thanks, Peter. Councillor Cowan, please.
Thank you, Chairman. And we're about to hear under future business today our proposals for the budget. But I think it's just worth reflecting on what the leader said in his announcements and what we've just been hearing from colleagues about grants and support for local communities. Our budget is balanced. It has been for many years. It's been balanced, and we've been able to provide for all of the core services, of which there are many that we're required to provide. But more significantly, I suppose, it's the fact that we're able to support our residents, our communities, our villages, our clubs, our sporting hubs and businesses through the fact that we've been able, as a district council, to punch above our weight significantly in these areas. Our budget is balanced. It's the lowest district council tax, certainly in Norfolk, by a long way. And yet we're still able to provide all of those services, both statutory and discretionary. And I think it's to the credit of everyone in Breckland that we have a significant strength in the officer corps and, frankly, the member corps here as well. And I find it utterly disappointing that we are facing what our leader has discussed today in terms of local government reorganisation, where nobody in Norfolk has had the courtesy to even discuss with probably the most successful district council in the county how and in what way the county of Norfolk, and particularly the residents and businesses of Breckland, may see their future being imposed upon them by those who have absolutely no clue about what makes this district and this part of this district tick. Leader, I've probably rambled a bit. I'm going to speak a bit more in a moment. But I really feel passionately about this. And it is to the credit of everyone in this room, everyone in this building, that residents can look to us, I hope, with a significant amount of pride. Thank you.
Lovely, thanks, Paul. Councillor Borrett, please.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. And I very much want to echo what the Cabinet member has just said. It's fantastic that there's over £1 million worth of discretionary grants that Breckland has managed to put in the right hands over the last few weeks. I think it's really important, and it demonstrates why local government is really important, because we are part of the fabric of the society, of the people who we represent. And this money that has mostly gone to local businesses and voluntary groups just demonstrates how important it is to be close to the communities which we represent. And I don't think anybody has been able to say that Breckland isn't a really efficient, well-run and locally focused council. And, you know, as the Cabinet member has said, we have the lowest council tax, not just in Norfolk, but in the whole of the country. So I think there is something very precious here, and I'm not saying it just because I'm a member of Breckland Council, but I think the people who have been ignored in all of this is the residents. This is something that's coming from Westminster. And I think it would be very interesting if you were to say to the residents, do you want to see this change? It might not at all fit with the line coming from Westminster. And I think if local government is going to be properly representative, then let the people help shape it. And I think there is a challenge there back to the government. This is, I am concerned. If you look at the authorities with the highest council taxes in the country, they are all unitary authorities. So this is not about saving you money. This is something else entirely. I absolutely support everything that the Cabinet members have been doing and that's been announced here this morning. Thanks very much, Chairman.
Yeah. Lovely. Thanks, Bill. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to our next substantive item, which is the budget, MTFS and Capital Strategy 25-26. Councillor Cowan, please.
Chairman, thank you. And colleagues, good morning. I'm here to present to you for your consideration the proposed draft budget, medium-term financial plan and capital strategy for the year ahead, 2025 to 2026, together with projections for the subsequent 3 years. These draft proposals have been through the Council scrutiny process, having first been prepared and sent out for consultation as required in 2024, been presented and discussed at Cabinet in January of this year, been presented and debated at scrutiny also in January this year. You will recall that over the past few years, finances for local government as a whole have been challenging. This situation has been exacerbated by a range of factors outside local control that for many authorities has resulted in a disproportionate impact on the ability to manage and maintain balanced budgets. I'm pleased to advise that here in Breckland, we have been able to withstand much of this external pressure through judicious use of our resources, entrepreneurial measures and reserves, all supported by a sound financial position and one that has no reliance on borrowing. Nevertheless, we are now facing what may be described as a perfect storm of events looming on the horizon. These include the national funding environment, a business rate reset, fair funding review, significant funding cuts, demographic changes, reduced income, and demand pressures in services such as temporary accommodation, revenues and benefits, and waste services. The papers before us today contain detail in the various appendices. However, before highlighting much of the detail, perhaps it is appropriate to remind ourselves that it is incumbent for us as a public sector authority to demonstrate that we are able to deliver a balanced budget for the year ahead. Thus, we need to understand what our income streams we receive and balance that against against the cost of providing our services, and when and where appropriate, make provision for or accrue funds that may be required to meet commitments where the substance may be known, but for which accurate costs are not yet ascertained. And examples there may include replacing out-of-date machinery and equipment, upgrades to software and the like, and new licenses to support them. That said, I believe that it is appropriate to draw out some salient points that underscore the funding challenges facing us and the measures we are taking to meet them. Appendix I sets out the background and potential impacts of both the empty homes and second homes opportunities that government has granted to local authorities, and you will note the comments regarding the different approach we are proposing for each. At Appendix J, developed in partnership with our funding advisors Pixel, we highlight various scenarios, outcomes and timings that we have used to support our proposed financial modelling as we look ahead. Paragraph 1.9 on page 13 identifies the significant funding reductions, additional income and our proposal for a council tax increase, together with a methodology to manage the national insurance increase announced in the recent budget. In paragraph 1.10, we identify the impact of the reduction of the Rural Services Delivery Grant, some £624,000, and particularly the timing of that announcement. Future funding complexities are explored in paragraphs 111 and 112, highlighting that the draft budget this year contains higher levels of estimates than would normally be the case, And in paragraph 113, the implications for the council of implementing the new waste requirements, including food waste collections, are identified. NNDR and the implications of the impending business rate reset are explored in paragraph 114, and the proposals for the new homes bonus are set out in paragraph 117. Confirmation that the proposed annual increase in council tax, that's £4.95 for a Band D property per annum, meets with the legislative requirements is shown in paragraph 118, and the efficiencies that Breckland has achieved and those that are proposed are scheduled out in paragraphs 119. Paragraphs 122 through to 126 expands upon this council's approach to the second homes and long-term empty property opportunities, and paragraphs 127 to 132 outlines our proposed approach re council tax penalties, and I draw your attention to the sums involved in paragraph 131 that specifically relate to single person discount fraud. And finally, the draft capital strategy and capital programme is explained in appendices G and H, and if you wish for any detail on that, my colleague at the end of the table here, Paul Hewitt, with the cabinet member responsible for our capital programme, I'm sure will be able to answer details. There is of necessity a considerable amount of detail in this paper, and together with Alison Chubbuck, our 151 officer, and other members of the finance team, we are happy to take questions. Thank you, Chairman.
Lovely, thanks Phil. Any questions or comments in relation to item 8? No. Councillor Hewitt.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Phil. As has been mentioned previously, I mean, this is a sombre set of numbers, but congratulations to you and to the team for once again pulling out a recommendation that allows us to remain one of, if not the only, best performing district councils in Norfolk, if not even the country. I mean, at a time of national uncertainty, with the Bank of England last week just reducing growth forecasts even more, and the CBI actually really challenging both business optimism and even today's jobs data, giving a very, very poor series of outputs. And in terms of local uncertainty, with LGR and with devolution, which is something that I believe the people of Breckland and certainly the people of Norfolk neither have called for nor do they need moving forwards. These are challenging times under very, very challenging circumstances. And you make the point quite clearly that council tax fraud will not be tolerated. It's not right that some people abuse these challenging times while other people pay their full due. But there is a financial plan. It is clear, it is eloquent, and it is stated and actually put together with some excellent financial discipline and some financial prudence moving forward. So I just congratulate you and the team, and I fully support the recommendations that we made to full council.
Lovely, thanks. Councillor Borrett, please.
Thank you. There's talk of challenging times, and I think that it's right to reflect on why it is challenging, and it isn't challenging here at Breckland because the council has mismanaged its business in any way. It's challenging because the demands for the money that we have gone up, and in particular temporary accommodation, where we have a responsibility to provide a service, and the cost of that service has gone up exponentially, all outside of the control of Breckland Council, but we have to pick up the pieces. And that is what is causing pressure in the system. I think sometimes it's not understood that we are having to do more with the same amount of money that we've had, and Breckland does that incredibly well. So this is a result of Breckland dealing with external pressures, and disappointingly, the fact that central government, who ultimately is responsible for this, has not recognised that and has expected the council taxpayer to pick up the pieces of something which is a failure of central government and their legislative programme. So I do fully support everything that the cabinet members just said.
Lovely, thanks, Bill. Any other questions or comments? If not, I'll revert back to you, Phil.
Thank you, Chairman. So we have before us 8 recommendations, which I propose we take en bloc to be recommended to full council. And I'll go through them now. Number 1, that Breckland review that the Breckland revenue estimates and parish special expenses for year 2025-2026 and outline position through to 2028 to 2029 as set out in Appendix B and E are approved. 2, that the capital estimates and associated funding for 2025 to 2026 and outline position through to 2034 to 2035 as set out in Appendix H are approved. 3, that the fees and charges shown at Appendix D and D1 for adoption on April the 1st, 2025 are approved. 4, that the council tax is set at £118.53 for a Band D property in the year 2025 to 2026. That is a £4.95 per annum increase on 2024 to 2025 levels. 5, that the medium-term financial plan at Appendix A is approved. And 6, that the capital strategy at Appendix G is approved. 7, that with effect from the 1st of April 2026 or later, the second home's council tax premium of 100% may be applied. 8, that with effect from the 1st of April 2025, a civil penalty is imposed for single person discount in line with legislation. I move those recommendations, Chairman.
Lovely, thanks. Colleagues, happily we'll take them in block? Yeah, super. All agreed? Thank you, that's unanimous. Thank you very much, Phil and your team, for all your hard work pulling that together in such a short space of time over these previous couple of weeks. So move on to item 9 then, which is the Q3 24-25 Finance Performance and Project Report. Who's starting out of you 3? Alison then, please.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, everybody. I'm pleased to report to the committee today the Q3 Finance Performance and Project Report. A summary for each area will be given, and I'll be starting, followed by Councillor Hewitt, followed by Councillor Cowan. So, in Q3, for the majority of our key performance indicators are at or near target. You'll see in the report areas where we are particularly performing well, our website accessibility score, which is now back above target as a result of the work by the digital team through the website redesign project. The score originally fell below target in Q3 23-24, so it's really pleasing that it's now returned to above target. Furthermore, I want to use this opportunity to highlight our improved performance in relation to missed bins over tolerance. In 2023, 839 bills were not collected in time or within the agreed window where their collection could be rectified. This year, this number has fallen to 26. When this is put into the context of 300,000 bins we collect every month throughout our district, it's really good news story and highlights the work of both the Environmental Services team and Serco. Q3 has, however, seen some challenging performance around days taken to process housing benefit and council tax changes and claims. This has been impacted by an increase in workload due to the number of migration notice issued as claims move across to universal credit. And as the caseload reduces, we are now left with the more complex temporary and supported accommodation claims to process. Further information can be found within the report appendix on this. I shall now hand over to Councillor Hewitt to talk about projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Webb. Colleagues, in terms of project activity for Q3, I'm delighted to report that a number of our projects, of which there are some 16 or so that are taking place currently, high-profile projects across the council, have went to completion in Q3 that demonstrates this council's ability to efficiently deliver complex projects with both structure and control. Some of these are included within the report, and as you can see, as part of the Evolve programme, we've delivered a more cost-effective process to managing, for instance, the council's outgoing mail. a project that will save some £38,000 in this financial year alone and over £60,000 in future years. Moreover, a new direct debit process has been introduced to include efficient collection of customer payments. Within the report appendices, you will also note several other key updates, including the completion of the first phase of property purchases to support with emergency housing needs, the implementation of new finance software, and the publication of the tender invitation with regards to Attleborough leisure construction work, which concludes a positive quarter from a project's point of view. In the light of recent government announcements, though, Chair, on devolution and local government reform, we will be reassessing a number of projects currently in development and in the pipeline that reflects the uncertainty that this council and our residents are facing moving forwards. What we will not do, what we will not reassess, is our ambition behind every single project that we undertake to make the lives of our residents, our businesses and this council better. Whatever the future holds for Breckland, our focus as a project team will be to ensure that our residents and our businesses continue to thrive now and in the future. I'll now pass over to Phil.
Thank you, Paul. So we're at quarter three, and quarter three in the fiscal programme, we're normally able to drill down into the actual spend incurred by the council against that which was anticipated when the budget was being set for the year ahead, i.e. this time last year. This year is no exception, but what is apparent is that the anticipated budget demands, i.e. income versus expenditure, and the variances have not materialised as expected. And in the quarter two report that we reported on last year, this trend was apparent as it is now, and where we're now showing a variance of £567,000, and that's at Appendix C. The variation detail is shown in Table 2, from which can be seen that the overwhelming majority of the variance is generated by factors completely outside of the control of this council. Members will recall that this has been a recurring theme this year, with significant increase in temporary housing demands, as shown in items 1 and 3 in the table, a reduction in income from planning and building control, items 4 and 6, increased costs to undertake the waste contract, items 2 and 5, and other increased spending shown in items 7 to 10. And all that results in increased and not anticipated costs to this council of some £1.9 million at quarter three. However, through our prudent financial policies and judicious use of our reserves and cash, we have been able to mitigate the potential £567,000 overspend at quarter three, as you can see, to a projected £67,000. Members will also be aware that for some time your council has been examining ways and means of delivering efficiencies, and efficiencies that see no reduction of the quality and breadth of service to residents, and Table 3 shows that the target for the current year is tracking ahead of that which we anticipated, and moreover, I'm advised that we're well on track with the coming year's needs in this regard. Our capital works programme shows an underspend against forecast, but the projects against which the spend is forecast are underway, and thus the allocated funds are shown as carried forward. Thank you, Chairman.
Lovely. Thanks, Phil, Alison and Paul. Any questions in relation to the quarter three? Councillor Clark, please.
Thank you, Chairman. A question probably split, I suggest, between Councillor Webber and Councillor Suggett. Thank you very much for the presentations. I've just noted going in performance quarter three, I think that's page 2, I've noted in the top 4 items which are relating to housing, HMOs, disabled facilities grant, etc. I'm pleased, obviously, that in the second and the third, the achievement there has been 100%. I notice there's been a drop in quarter 3 to 60% for DFGs, and there's no information on HMO inspections, but also in the right-hand column, the target is to be confirmed. Now, I appreciate that in terms of some of the achievements there, some of that may be outside of our control. We're working with providers and access, but obviously I welcome Cabinet members' comments. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. But we'll get the detail of that, Harry, and we'll get that and send it over to you, because like you said, some of that is outside of our control and I don't know what all of the detail is in that. So I would rather get something which is accurate and send it over to you after this meeting. Thank you.
Anything else, Harry? Nope. There are no further questions then. So that's to note the report in the appendices within item 9, duly noted. Great, super stuff. So final item then, date of the next meeting. That is Monday the 24th of March 2025 here in the Anglia Room at Elizabeth House. And I now formally close the meeting. Thank you very much.